Hi everybody, Ollie here, aka Secret Nimbus here, another episode of Magic Duels. So for today's deck tech, I'm going to be going through my Jund Midrange deck. So basically what we're going to be looking at is a combination of some sweeping, early removal, some ramp, and then some reasonably big creatures to help us dominate the mid game. So start off with, we've got the 1 green mana Jaddi Offshoot, but it's a defender, 0/3 defender, which has the landfall where we gain a life. So it's nice to drop this early, kind of like turn 1, turn 2, and then with all the ramp you kind of gain a lot of life pretty early on. Running the 4 fiery impulses to take out any early game creatures to stop them kind of punching us in the face too soon. Deathcap Cultivator, so a 2 mana creature, 2/1. It also allows us to tap it for green and black mana, so it's essentially a pseudo ramp card, so it allows us to ramp up by 1 when we play it on turn 2. We've got Nissa, so a 3 mana 2/2 creature that can flip into the Planeswalker, but one of the main reasons she's in this deck is more for her mana fixing, so it allows us to pull a forest from our deck and put it into our hand. 4 copies of Natural Connection, so the reason I'm running this one rather than the Nissa's Pilgrimage or whatever it was is that the reason being is that you can basically use this to mana fix any basic land and put it into play tapped, and it's also an instant, so you can play it on your opponent's end step and then still have something to do on your turn. A couple of copies of Read the Bones, so a 3 mana 1 black sorcery which allows us to scry 2 then draw 2 cards, so good for finding answers when we need them in the early or the late game. 2 copies of Radiant Flames which allows us to sweep the board for up to 3 damage. First of our creatures, first of our bigger creatures is Kalitas, so 4 mana double black legendary creature with lifelink. Then when an opponent's creature dies, you get to put a zombie creature token onto the battlefield, which is quite nice. Then we've got Mina and Denn Wildborn, so 4 mana green and red. She is a 4/4 creature, or they are a 4/4 creature, which allows us to play an additional land on any of our turns, and then we can also return target land return a land you control to its owner's hand, so basically return a land to our hand, and then we can also give one of our bigger creatures trample, which is quite nice. 2 copies of Languish to help us sweep the board and keep any kind of aggro decks under control. Explosive Vegetation, so the 4 mana card which allows us to ramp up for 2 basic mana. Kind of crazy, it's really awesome in conjunction with things like Omnath and stuff like that. The Gitrog Monster, so this is one of the reasons I wanted to make this deck, was I really wanted to kind of play a deck with the Gitrog Monster. So it's a 5 mana 6/6 with Death Touch. At the beginning of our upkeep we either have to sacrifice a Gitrog Monster or sacrifice a land. So because we're playing a ramp, we're obviously going to have a lot of land on the battlefield, so we don't really mind sacrificing a few. We can also play an additional land on each of our turns, and then whenever we do sacrifice a land, we can then draw a card, or whenever a land is put into the graveyard from anywhere, so it can be from our deck, whatever, so if we're being milled down it can also be used to help us draw more cards. 2 copies of Chandra's Ignition, so with all the big creatures we're running, this card is pretty awesome. So you drop it on top of a big creature and then it sweeps the board, allows you to swing on usually an empty board. Only thing about this one is it's a little bit slower than some of our other board sweepers, mostly because it does require us to have a big creature down to trigger it on, but when you do, it is devastating. We've got Ob Nixilis, so the first of our Planeswalkers, a double black 5 mana Planeswalker which allows us to draw cards for that all-important card advantage, destroy other opponent's creatures, and then its ultimate which forces our opponent to lose life. 1 copy of Akoum Hellkite, so it's a nice 4/4 flying dragon with landfall, and whenever a land comes into play we either get to ping 1 or 2 damage depending on what kind of land we drop. Ulvenwald Hydra is quite scary. You know, for 6 mana we get a creature with brain's gone funny here. Attack and toughness. My god, my brain is just gone. So yeah, it's got star toughness and attack equal to the number of lands we control. Also, when it enters the battlefield, we get to search our library for an additional land and put it into play. Which is quite nice. You essentially get to pump it up for 1 whenever it drops. Oblivion Sower, so it's a 6 mana Eldrazi which allows us to exile 4 cards from our opponent's graveyard. We get to exile 4 cards from our opponent's library, any lands in there we get to put into play, so it's good for helping us ramp up, for triggering Omnath, all sorts of crazy stuff like that. We've then got Chandra, so the second of our Planeswalkers, a 6 mana double red Planeswalker. You've seen her many times. We get the tokens, the refill our hand, or sweep the board. Finally, we've got Omnath, so a 7 mana double red, double green, 5/5, which allows us to put 5/5 elemental creature tokens in play whenever we drop a land. Plus, whenever they or he dies, we get to ping 3 damage wherever we damn well please. Finally, we've got Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger, so, you know, we're ramping, so it's always nice to have a big fat fatty to finish off with. So at 10 mana, we drop him, he's obviously indestructible, we get to exile 2 permanents, and we also get to exile 20 cards of an opponent's library every time he swings. In terms of the mana base, we're running 3 swamps, 3 mountains, and 4 forests. The reason I'm running equal number of swamps to forest, even though we've got more red to black spells, we have a lot of double black spells, so such as the Ob Nixilis, the Languish, and the Kalitas are all double black, so it's always nice to have that extra black mana in there. We're then running 2 Hissing Quagmires, 1 Smoldering Marsh, 2 Cinder Glades, 2 Woodland Cemeteries, 2 Rootbound Crags, 1 Dragonskull Summit, and the 4 Evolving Wilds for the mana fixing and to thin down our deck. So that is the deck. Let's go play some games. Okay guys, here we are for game number 1. We're playing the rank 39 Kativa, I believe that was. I will double check that. So this is actually quite a nice opening hand. I mean, we've got the Deathcap Cultivator and the Explosive Vegetation, so yeah, unless you can remove that one, we've got enough mana to obviously drop the Explosive Vegetation on turn 4, which will allow us to fix some more mana, which is quite nice. So yeah, I think we'll start off with the Woodland Cemetery here, just because that's going to allow us to get this Deathcap Cultivator down on turn 2 and allow us to obviously ramp up by that 1 additional mana while it's in play. So he's got himself a Sylvan Ranger, so he is mana fixing using that. See how it goes. Oh, I'm looking forward to having the weekend to myself, guys. So I'm recording this on Friday afternoon, and it will be going up on Friday evening. And yeah, I've got the weekend to myself. My wife has had some days off work which she needs to use up, so she's going down to see her parents for the weekend. So I've got the house to myself, so I probably will be streaming at some point this weekend, so look out for a streaming notification video going up. It'll just be a quick kind of like thing going up on the channel just to say I'm streaming. So I definitely want to stream some Magic Duels. Might also stream some other things as well, like Fable Fortune, stuff like that. Okay, so we've got a 4th mana, so we don't necessarily have to worry about our Deathcap Cultivator in play anymore, although we do have the Explosive Vegetation to play, so he just taps down as a mana quite nicely like that. So we'll grab, I think, a double black source. No, we've already got 1 black source, so maybe a black and a green source. Yeah, black and a green, because we haven't got a green basic mana or a black basic mana, so that's put me in a very good position here, as I can now think about getting Ob Nixilis down. Start drawing some cards, so he's also ramping up as well with his own Explosive Vegetation. So do I ramp up again? I almost want to save this in case I do find something like Omnath and I want to kind of trigger it twice in future. Okay, so we do have our Mina and Den Wildborn, so do I drop that or do I drop Ob Nixilis? Now I'm going to drop these guys this turn. Reason being is that I need some kind of blocker for Ob Nixilis, so do I just kill that and swing with the Deathcap Cultivator? Yeah, I think I'm going to. Just ping you. I don't think there's going to be anything else that we're going to be using a Fiery Impulse on, especially as it looks like we're playing maybe some kind of white and green ramp deck of some description, so I always feel as though it's ideal time to just ping that Sylvan Ranger and then just swing for 2 with our Deathcap Cultivator. So next turn we'll be able to drop the Ob Nixilis. We do have the Chandra's Ignition to trigger on the Mina and Den Wildborn, although he is about to sweep us away. Sort of works for me, as I didn't really have anything too important on the board anyway. So we do have Akoum Hellkite. Yeah, I want to drop Akoum Hellkite. Reason being is that as a landfall creature, that will get the Explosive Vegetation benefit, so that's good for us. It's also a nice flyer, so he's got the evasion in the air. So let's see what's going on. So he does have Gaia's Revenge, so can we target this? Can't be the target of non-green spells or abilities from non-green sources, so we're going to skip blocking here. I'm wondering whether or not we can. This is really tricky because I don't know how I'm going to kill that unless I can find a 5-attack creature. Oh, that works for me. Yep, Ulvenwald Hydra, perfect. Use that to block the Gaia's Revenge. So it's going to become a 7/7, so what we'll do is we'll grab the mountain. Reason being is that will allow us to get two additional damage in the air with our Akoum Hellkite. And yeah, we do have a blocker now for the Guy's Revenge, so I really don't mind chump blocking essentially with the Ulvenwald Hydra. Because it's worth it to be able to block the Guy's Revenge. Plus, if he doesn't swing, we can always then just Chandra's Ignition it as well. So, works for me. Okay, so he's got Tragic Arrogance, so I'm guessing he's going to keep my Akoum Hellkite and then obviously save his Guy's Revenge. Yep. What a surprise. That's kind of annoying. So we are going to go down to 4. So let me think about this. I can push through 8 damage this turn. Ooh, that works. Do I have enough mana? Damn, I don't have enough mana. That really sucks. See, what I was hoping is that what I could have done was both Chandra's Ignition and Radiant Flame. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1 mana short. If I had one more mana, I could have actually killed that and then probably won the game as well. What do I do? What do I do? Because Radiant Flames doesn't do enough. Neither does Chandra's Ignition. Tough choice. I mean, I could just Explosive Vegetation this turn and pray that, or I could even Ob Nixilis. None of these are filling me with any kind of joy here. This would push through 8 damage this turn, then block, and then maybe come up with some kind of answer. It's a tricky one. Don't really have much of a choice here. Yeah, let's just Chandra's Ignition this turn. I know it won't kill it, but so I've got him at 8, so we just have to skip attack here and then block it. See, this is why Guy's Revenge is a real pig of a card. So he was probably expecting something else there, but unfortunately I've got no way of dealing with that, so he's going to have to swing. I will block it. Yeah, I need maybe something like... I don't think even Ulamog would help at this point. Read the Bones is probably going to have to be dropped just as an answer. I need something, I need a blocker, I need anything basically at this point. Neither of them are going to work for me. Oh, come on. Yeah, that's a loss, unfortunately. So that Guy's Revenge was pretty clutch for him. We didn't find one of our bigger creatures, and then he had obviously the Tragic Arrogance and the Planar Outburst. So yeah, unfortunately that is a loss for game number 1. So I'll see you in a sec, guys. Okay guys, here we are for game number 2. We're playing the rank 34 Senor Ding Dong. Senor Ding Dong! It's a Simpsons reference, I'm sure. Yeah, this is actually quite a nice opening hand. So we've got the Mountain to start off with to obviously then drop the Fiery Impulse on a small aggressive creature. We'll probably want to drop Hissing Quagmire next turn. Then we'll go into the Forest, Cinder Glade, Explosive Vegetation, Mina and Den Wildborn, all sorts of fun stuff like that. So he didn't play anything turn 1, which is good for us. So now means we can drop the Hissing Quagmire with impunity, knowing that we do still have the Fiery Impulse open for pinging a creature. So yeah, that kind of sucks what happened in the last game, the fact that we just got stumped a little bit by his removal. Okay, we've actually managed to find Natural Connection, which is good. So I'm going to drop the Forest here, and then depending on what he plays, I can either Natural Connection and what does this one do again? So it's 3 mana to turn that into a 2/2 creature with Death Touch. So we're going to Natural Connection or Fiery Impulse. Okay, so he's gone for the Always Watching, so I don't mind Natural Connecting now. Grab a Black Source. So I might save the Explosive Vegetation right now and then just play out Mina and Den Wildborn, which will allow us to get these 2 mana down this turn, which is kind of cool. We do have another Natural Connection, so lots of ramp going on right now. And then yeah, we'll drop the Forest as well, because we can. You know, why not ramp up? We're past the age of Monvuli Acid Moss, where we don't have to worry about a mana being destroyed on turn 4 anymore, because you know, if this was the... Okay, so we're just going to declare that in stone. So we'll just sacrifice that clue straight away, draw ourselves a card. Nissa works for me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I can actually flip her this turn in that case, which is quite nice. So we shall do that. Also play out Jaddi Offshoot, I think. You know, grab the ramp. So yes, we'll grab that Forest. Play out the Jaddi Offshoot. go. Which is going to allow us to gain a life and also flip Nissa all in one turn, so very nice indeed. We'll see what we find. +1er. And we found another Fiery Impulse, okay, fair enough. So we've got 2 of these open, so we can deal potentially up to 4 damage or ping off 2 creatures, so we do have 2 red sources open. And then we've got a second always watching, so at the moment he hasn't actually played any kind of creature, which is interesting. I mean, we've got nothing down ourselves. Come on, game. Here we go. So I'm going to Natural Connect here again. Grab another red source. So no, I should be saving the mountains really in case I do find Akoum Hellkite. Okay, so we do have another Explosive Vegetation, so I'm going to +1 Nissa first in case we find a decent creature that we want to play. Languish is, again, okay. So we may as well just Hissing Quagmire here at this point and swing for 2. So I said I may as well save the Explosive Vegetations for if we want to trigger Omnath or anything like that, although we have played out a lot of our basic mana already, which is kind of terrifying. So we do have a lot of removal for his creatures. And at this point, I'm almost tempted to just -2 Nissa, just to drop the 4/4 elemental token, just so, you know, it gives us a decent body on the battlefield. Although it would be vulnerable to Languish, so maybe not the best idea. Let's just keep +1ing her until we can get to her -7 ability and then just swing with all the mana for the win. And he's just left the game, so it looks like he just had nothing there. So we'll move on to game number 3. Okay guys, here we are for game number 4. So we're playing Vesti Investi. Nice name. We've got a lot of ramp here, so I'm probably going to keep this one. We've got the Evolving Wilds, Natural Connection and Explosive Vegetation. Yeah, Vesti Investi. Nice name. So yeah, lots of ramp here. Lots of ramp. So hopefully we can find one of our threats fairly early on. So yeah, I've already think I've got my idea for next week deck tech, which I think I'm probably going to start working on a tokens deck over this weekend. While I've got the weekend off and I've actually got time to do some brewing, I think I shall do that. This one I had to come up with right at the last minute, as I've not had time this week to really come up with a deck. So this one got kind of thrown together this afternoon. It's working. Like, obviously I get wins out of it. It works very, very well, especially when you ramp up into some nice fat fatties. Got Chandra's Ignition. I swear to God, this card, it comes up so much. The moment you put it in a deck, it shows up almost every single game. It's so bizarre. It's like it's programmed to like show up more often than like anything else. Same with Explosive Vegetation. I do like the artwork on that though. That is an awesome piece of artwork. But yeah, I swear to God, Chandra's Ignition, it just shows up way too often, way more often than it should. Mr. Vesti Investi is either trying to make up his mind here, or he's just gone AFK or something like that. I don't know. See how it goes. We don't want to stick around too much if we can get away with it. So yeah. So I would say my wife's gone away for the weekend. She hasn't exactly had the best start to her journey down there. She got about halfway down to where her parents live. So we live in up in the East Midlands. So we live near Nottingham. For any of you that know the UK at all. So yeah, we live in that area. Both of our parents live down in Devon, so the southwest of the country, about a 3.5 hour drive away. She got about halfway there, so went from like one motorway to another. So essentially in America that'd be like one interstate to another. And yeah, the engine warning light came on her car, and basically it was like, oh, and she ran, and the actual power to the car had gone as well, so she was having like no speed, and luckily she managed to nurse it all the way to the nearest service station, because she was going through what's called in this country an average speed check, where basically they're doing roadworks and you have to basically drive at a set speed for the duration of the roadworks. So luckily she was able to nurse it through this average speed check and rocked up at the closest services, and luckily we have breakdown cover. So what am I doing? Yeah, luckily we have breakdown cover, and she was able to so they were able to come out and fix it for her, so thank God for that. But she's not having much luck with her car at the moment. Yeah, she's had a flat tyre, she's now had an engine warning light, so it's a really new car as well. It's like a 14 plate, so it was basically first brought off the manufacturing line in June 2014, so it's not exactly an old car either. You know, if it was like a 20-year-old car, I'd expect like all of these problems, but not for an almost brand new Ford Fiesta. It's crazy. So it looks like this guy's finally remembered that he's playing. Okay, so what do we go for this turn? We do have the natural connection, so I'm just going to drop the Cinder Glade here and then probably ramp up on his end step. So let's see what Mr. Investy can do now. So we're playing what looks like no, we're playing werewolves by the looks of things. So at least we've got the Radiant Flames for doing that. So, oh, hang on a minute. I just remembered that's Hermit of the Natanols, isn't it? Why am I playing a card on his turn? Ugh. Amateur mistake. Means he gets to draw a card out of that, so that was a bit silly of me. So yeah, probably just want to Explosive Vegetation this turn. So if we drop the Forest and the Jaddi Offshoot and then Explosive Vegetation, yeah, that'll work out pretty well. So I don't really want to play Natural Connection on his turn right now. So yeah, we'll grab green and red. Boom. Gain some life here. This isn't going to flip as we obviously played at least one spell. So we can sweep it with the Radiant Flames if we need to. Goes to a 3-5 if it flips, which is kind of terrifying. Not really that much more powerful though, just got a lot more health. We're looking for one of our threats fairly soon. We're already up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana, so you know we can pretty much play anything apart from Ulamog. We're like 1 mana away from being able to play it, so I'm going to skip blocking for now, just in case he's got Combat Trick or a Fiery Impulse or something like that, which can kill my Jaddi Offshoot. Yeah, so he's got the Duskwatch Recruiter, so it's almost tempting to it's very tempting to Radiant Flames here now. I mean, I'm going to lose the Jaddi Offshoot, but pff, I don't care. If I can sweep away 3 creatures, then I just feel that's a worthwhile. So I'm going to get the biggest benefit out of this first. I'm going to play the Natural Connection now. Grab another Source. So we still do have 3 mana open, so we'll just play you out for 3 now. Sweep away his board. And you can't do anything, mate, so all 3 of these are just dead. Deaded. Deaded. Awesome, so that's 3 werewolves dealt with, including 2 of his 3 Duskwatch Recruiters, potentially. I haven't really seen much werewolves around since I played around with them myself at the beginning of the meta, but it's kind of settled down to pretty much a lot of kind of like rampy, super frenzy decks. Do see some variation, but not a lot. So he's got Arlencord come down. Nothing too scary. Providing we can get one of our threats down fairly soon, we should be okay here. As we do have the ability to drop a Chandra Ignition on a big creature. So, wow, Jaddi Offshoot. That's so exciting. At least we have another Radiant Flames to potentially come down pretty soon. So, what does the flip version of Arlencord do? So, +1 is give creatures +1/+1 and gain trample until end of turn. Deals 3 damage to target creature or player. And then you get an emblem with creatures you control have haste and tap. Yeah, I've never actually seen Arlencord's, so he's just going to, you know, wipe away my Jaddi Offshoot and reflip Arlencord. So we do another sweeper. So if he plays out a lot more werewolves, we will just be sweeping his board again. Come on, play out another werewolf, I dare you. Howlpack Resurgence, okay. That is a little bit of a threat. So we will take 3 damage here, but we're probably just going to wipe the board again. Hopefully we can get something decent. Gitrog Monster. Languish. I'm going to go for the Radiant Flames first. Reason being is that Languish, I'd rather save it in case he gets anything bigger. So at this point we're kind of just waiting for one of our threats to show up. We've had lots of our board clear. I mean, the Chandra Ignition one is pretty much a dead card until we have something to drop it on at the moment. So I'm hoping he's just out of werewolves now, would be quite nice. Howlpack Resurgence is such a nice card, especially for werewolves deck. It's like one of the few cards that actually makes werewolves viable, I feel. Especially the ability to flash it in as well is just absolutely bonkers. Oh wow, so we've got ourselves a Wolf of Devil's Breach. Not something that we can deal with right now. Unless I get a... what's what I'm looking for? So that is going to be able to swing at us for 6, which is 8, sorry, which is bonkers. So unless we get something like... Does that get haste as well? Oh my god. So we're just about to take 10 damage here. So at least he doesn't have anything to fling at our face, which is quite nice, I suppose. Wow, so yeah, we need some way of dealing with Wolf of Devil's Breach, ideally. Let me think. I think the best solution here would be Languish plus a Fiery Impulse. We haven't seen any yet, so we still have 4 to get through. So we've got something like a 1 in 10 chance of being able to do that. Or we need another one of our second sweeper. Basically just need some way of like pinging 2 damage through to the Wolf Devil's Breach. One of our big creatures will also be quite nice, so we could potentially drop a Chandra's Ignition on top of Gitrog Monster. Ugh. Yeah, I think we've lost this at this point, just because... I mean, we're going to have to Languish this turn. Reason being is that, otherwise we're dead, so... That was just horrible. This was just horrible, unfortunately. Did not go our way. Just had not drawn any of our big threats, unfortunately. A lot of ramp. I almost want to tone the ramp down a little bit, potentially. I don't know. I might have a tinker around. I might change a few cards for next episode, but the general gist of the deck will be like this. So maybe tone down the ramp a wee bit. Yeah, maybe we don't need all of the explosive vegetations or the natural connections, but we've drawn out like a lot of our mana. We should be drawing at least some of our threats. It's frustrating. Frustrating sometimes when you just don't get the right win cons, really. So come on, hurry up, Mr. Vesty and Vesty. Is he on like AFK again? Oh, come on. I've not got all day. I wanted to finish this match off and then just round off the video so I can get his video rendering and get it uploaded tonight, so that way I can potentially stream some videos later on, but no. Sorry, stream on Twitch later on, but no, this guy's like, I'm just going to sit here, troll you a little bit. How much mana have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if I did get the Gitrog Monster, I think that would get me back into the game. I mean, he can swing for 8 this turn, which would put me down at 1. And then, obviously, Gitrog Monster plus Chandra's Ignition would wipe him away. And Ulamog would also work as well, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, Ulamog would also work, because it would allow me to then ping 2 of his creatures. I think I've just lost it, yeah. Dude, was he just sat? He was just sat there being a troll this entire time, wasn't he? My God, you git! I don't believe that. Ugh. Yeah, that's just trolling. I'm just going to concede here then. Yeah, that was annoying. So, unfortunately, we did not find any of our threats there. But I swear to God, if we found like any one of our threats, we would have been perfectly fine. Any of our planeswalkers, big creatures, would have all been fine and dandy, but unfortunately we did not. So that is the end of the episode for now. As always, guys, don't forget to comment and like if you enjoyed the episode. If you're new to the channel, it's always nice to see you hit subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.